Alrighty, what's up, everybody? It's Big Jonas here in the house, coming to you live. Sunday, hey, there you are. How's everybody doing today? Sunday, October 13th, 2019. It's Big Jonas. Hope everybody's having a great weekend. I just wanted to come live to you guys and talk about some very interesting Bitcoin price action. Hope everybody's having a good day there. Remember, you guys can find me on Twitter. I am at Big Jonas. Definitely put out lots of great content. Love to see you all there. Remember to follow me on Twitter at Big Jonas. Remember to hit that thumbs up button if you're joining me today on this live edition of YouTube. Guys, also check out fluxtradinggroup.com. Proud member of the Flux Trading Group. We put out excellent content in the Discord group. Also, lots of educational instruments and tools. We got the tech bot as well. And definitely check it out. Feel free to check it out. And I'd love to see you there. Love to see you subscribe. Great place to be. Great place to find some great trades. I definitely share some of those as well. So I'm on the Bitcoin chart. I'm on the daily chart. You know, not only do we close out our day today, but we close out our weekly candle. And we can see this red line here as our MA200. We can see that Bitcoin is really having a tough time closing above it. So far, this one, two, three, four times intraday, we have broken out of our candle, our MA resistance, only to fall down and close below. And that's notable because the MA200, especially on the daily chart, is definitely something that we watch and we see. That's notable. That sounds pretty good. And we see Bitcoin's interaction to it. Now, a couple things I want to point out here. So, ever since we have had our topping off pattern and then our consolidation here, what are we seeing on our moving averages? Let's hide our price action for just a moment. Okay, so what we see here is the upward trajectory of our MA200 is still in a upward momentum. But the 50 and the 100 have clearly turned into this negative zone here and have declining. And for the first time this entire year, after our bullish crossover of our 50 through our 200 and then our 100 through our 200, we are getting closer in the coming week or so. Probably, well, again, obviously depends on Bitcoin's price action, but we're getting closer to seeing these potential crosses being tested. And the 50 going down through the MA200 is technically a death cross. Now, the death cross is still more of a colloquial term, but it's shown many things of note. The last one being the last time we had a death cross with a kind of a very similar spectrum here. I'm kind of hide our price action once again, and what you can see right here. Let me zoom in here. Okay. Is the 50 passing through a 200 that was still in an upward trajectory, and the MA200 still remained in an upward path. The cross was March 28th, and the basically turn down was almost towards the end of June there. So it's a laggard because it's 200 periods, but we have something very similar here. We're now our 50 and our 100, 50 and our 100. This is back in 2018. Okay. Is similar setup to what we're seeing now. Now, also notice the 50 didn't get as high because Bitcoin didn't get as high. Okay, so we can also see the last time the 50 and the 100 crossed back here, Bitcoin was back at $11,800, and that actually proved to be almost the last best sell if you were still holding during that point. So that literally, again, called the last best sell 10,500, 10,300 before it really fell off there. So the cross of the 50 to the 100 is very similar to what happened last time. And we're getting very close to next week where the 50 and the 200 will be tested. Now, what would prevent this would be a massive explosion of Bitcoin price action back over 10,000. You'd probably have to get a little higher there to basically ricochet our 50 and then our 100 upward, and basically would keep these from crossing here. That's the most kind of, okay, that would be the best case scenario, but Bitcoin needs to find almost $1,500 worth of bullish price action to achieve this in the days to come. Check out the volume here. We're still falling. Our most recent volume area was a very bearish volume profile. You can see I use my, this is the 14-day average here. This was our peak, and ever since we had our peak there, you can see our average, other than the most recent bearish move here. There we go. We're not getting a lot of volume in the market. We're just not. People are not excited so far about finding this as an accumulation zone before getting back up. Because Bitcoin spent so much time in the support area of 10K, especially this last move here, where it was a much tighter triangle here. This $9,200 bounce, 9,200 back up to almost 11K here. This is like an $1,800 move. Not only have we given all that all back, but we've doubled that acceleration of the bearish side there. From tip to turn to stern there, almost a 30% move, almost a $3,000 move in Bitcoin from the early part of September, right, to the end of September. What a terrible month September was for Bitcoin. Finding the MA200 as support, finding a lower volume profile, daily on balance volume. It is consolidating. I really wouldn't constitute any bearish divergence yet or any bullish divergence yet. All I would really be looking for would some kind of a back test, maybe something like that. Yeah, that feels like we're getting a little closer to, but this is a really steep resistance here. So yeah, maybe the break above would be notable, but then you'd have to, see if you can get that back test as well. Not seeing the bullish divergence on it yet. RSI, daily RSI, what do I talk about? 50 right here. Okay. All right, well, let's start with this. Okay, so the 4 to 20. So this was the lowest. Let's do the square. We had our lowest tap of the daily RSI at 19. Okay. I have, just so you see what's going on here, I adjust my RSI to 80/20 instead of the default at 70/30. I just feel it's a little more, gives me a little more conservative signals when I'm seeing a break above 80 here, here, and here, are better shorting potential positions. And then when we break on the downside below 20, these are potential better longing positions. Our low here of 20 on the November 21st of 8 wasn't the low of Bitcoin price action. It was actually the low of Bitcoin price was here while the RSI was significantly higher there. So we have an RSI that's been rising a lot, right? Okay, we were at 20, now we're at 40. So it's almost doubled while our price action is within maybe $600-700 of our overall move here. So we're kind of using a lot of our RSI power without much of a forward up thrust so far here. And our daily stochastic is showing that we have topped. Now we've done several double tops and triple tops when the stoch has topped. But for now, we are in a topping out area where, combined with a weak RSI still, doesn't necessarily suggest the continuation is there yet. And our CMF chuck money flow, I mean, just a tip above our zero line there. Still looking for something more meaningful of a break and a hold above, because it's been such a clear primer as to when you're seeing the strength. Look at that strength. Look at that strength. But the strength has been declining and declining and declining and declining. Where's my curvature? And we've seen this kind of inverse parabola on the CMF falling here. And it could really take another dip there as well, right? Something like that, which would put me looking in this area-ish. Maybe go a little higher there, something like there, to see that next area where a bullish push in money flow could be tested as that resistance line. And looking at the MACD, again, this is the daily. Couple things that point out, obviously, we're in positive histograms. We're in a upward move here on our indicators. Look how very low, though, our indicators are. This is a very significantly bearish drop, okay? And I mean, look at these. We basically had these valleys here. 1, 2, 3 on the way up, and now we've basically had a. I guess I can do 1, 2, 3 on the way down here. So it's probably logical to assume that we're still probably heading up here, and we could be building a much more significant bullish mountain for sure. You can see where we normally tend to top off with this little outlier here, but we have lots of running room still in our Green Mountains Majesty in the MACD. But what is bearish still about this is the fact that our indicators here are still significantly below our zero line, which means they get a lot of running room to go up and still, be bearish, not have that kind of momentum in Bitcoin price action. I wanted to bring up my Bollinger Bands because something very interesting here. Look at these daily BBs. Okay, we're getting really tight here. Now, just because we get tight doesn't mean we can't go sideways, right? And stay tight. Oops. For several days of a ranging price action of Bitcoin. That can hug this. We've seen this before. Obviously, in lower time frames, everything is basically relative there. This would be an example down here of where the daily Bollingers were very tight. Let me change that color. Thank you, Philson. I appreciate it. Hey, Jeanette, what's going on? What's up, Chris C, Media S, Cornholio, John W, Dragon. What's up, everybody? Hi, guys. Big Jonas here, doing a live show here on Sunday. Make sure you hit that thumbs up button. Just talking some Bitcoin price action. Also, remember to check out fluxtradinggroup.com. That's where I do my premium analysis and talk about some of the altcoins that are on my radar. Darth Crypto, Chart Vampires there, Cryptomiss, we get the Tech Bot, and we're just a great community of people that like talking crypto, and we get a lot of really interesting information from everybody that's part of the group that gets passed around and analyzed and debated, and it's a great resource. So I'd love to see you there. Fluxtradinggroup.com. Also, remember to find me on Twitter at Big Jonas as well, and remember to hit subscribe to that button on Jonas Trading on YouTube. Back to the price analysis. So daily Bollingers, we're getting tight here. We are finding middle BB support, which is nice. We like to find middle Bollinger support, but when we have a separation here of 9%, $700 between the lower BB and the upper BB, where a couple of days ago, I mean, we were thousands of dollars, almost $4,000 separation, and now we're only $700 in the width of our Bollinger Bands. That when volatility hits, they spread out, and our center line here, the 20 period, is showing us support, which would put upper BB test in play, $8,600. Note the horizontal here at $8,600 is exactly where Bitcoin has gotten closed below 1, 2, 3, 3 of the last 5 days. Notable. Okay, so Bollinger's daily getting very tight here. Charging, priming the pump for that next big move. Higher time frames, though, the 3-day were still very wide, right? The weekly were very wide. And the monthly were ridiculously wide. Okay, talk about relative spectrums here. Monthly chart, a little tweezer here, right? Still a little tweezer. Not the greatest. I'd like to see this a little bit lower, but still potential for the tweezer this month with the support area held here. It's possible. Lower BB on the monthly, still under 7K. Upper Bollinger, way over 11K. This is our weekly candle. It closes tonight. This little fella. It's not a bad candle. Okay, volume's decent. We'll get a little bit higher as the end of the day. I mean, it's low, but it's not super low. Third week holding this lower BB support. Middle Bollinger on the weekly is at $9,800. Now, I find this interesting. We get their weekly stochastic. Okay, just checking the audio there. I like using the stochastic on lower time frames because higher time frames, you can see historically it can be topped off for 119 days. Okay, which means it can be bottomed out for a long time as well. Now, a synchronicity of 119 days of bearishness, right, would take Bitcoin as far out as December, late December, finding that area of resistance. Oh, the sun just came out. Where they could basically have that big breakout if we have a one-to-one parallel between all that bullishness we had earlier in the year, which means we still have bearish running room in our stochastics before I would consider them sold on this highest of time frames weekly charts. But once these guys start to move higher and break our line here, it could be a good sign, but we're not there yet. We're not even seeing anything close to that yet. Just quickly here, the RSI on the weekly chart, we're still sub 50. I don't like that. I want to be above 50. We can also see how 50 here was major resistance many times, right? And then we broke it as support. Boom. And now we can hit a back test on it, which makes literally, I'd say 52, 49. I'll give it a couple points, but we're basically doing a little bit of a back test here on the RSI. Thus, as we potentially are trying to do in our price action. And this is kind of where I can kind of flow into this now. So listen, 10,000, 9,000 is support. Do we have to back test it? Do we go up a little bit more before we get that rejection and then start coming back down? We can see how many times this area of support was held. That was a nice bounce there, actually, when it happened there. And not just held, but Bitcoin also accelerated, right here from the $8,900 area of support. Boom. So after all these times of finding 9K-ish support, do we need to, as a market, back test it to see if it is really that strongest resistance support situation? The sun right here. There we go. Before we can be convinced as a market that $9,000, no one's prepared to buy Bitcoin over 9K, and then it can slowly, continue to basically fall to areas of more meaningful support. Those areas of meaningful support can only be specified by the Fibonacci areas of support, where after failing to hold, let's clear that out. Start to flash again. Oops. After finding continuous support held on the 382 many times, and even the breakdown the next week after was, just bought right back up. Now we're around the 5.5. Okay, we had support, resistance. There's our up thrust back holding support. Okay, and remember last time we did that, this time here, we had the up thrust holding 382. We went higher, got above the 236, but shooting star, and that was it. So is the 382 back test, which actually is almost $10,000. Is that a more bullish scenario there where Bitcoin can get as high as just under 10K and then find the resistance there? And what I'm asking is, does the market have enough energy to even do that? Or are we literally kind of just go whoop and whoop down to our golden pocket between $7,200 and $6,900 ish? And this golden pocket represents many things. It represents, historic price action history. It represents, and for those of you that weren't in crypto Twitter or in Twitter in crypto back last October, this candle right here, this weekly candle here, October 15th weekly candle, got as high as $6,800. And it was called the tether pump, where basically it was a big tether liquidation into Bitcoin. And that literally marked that last top area before the big breakdown commenced. So major resistance broken through, acting as support. Our back test held it as support. And then that second back test to basically find it as support. And then in doing all of this, are we creating some sort of other patterns? We have this distinct hump, we have this distinct head, and we have this potential for this next distinct hump where we get back to the 9Ks and find that resistance and then continue down here, setting up the test not only of the golden pocket, but potentially as low as the 786, which is around the $5,500 area, which surprisingly enough has much more, my opinion, significantly areas of support and historic loading of Bitcoin price. Shown here by the VPVR, this cluster here is so significant. Giant bee flying around here. Because if this cluster, where we literally currently are, and does have a significant amount of price history in, see that right there? This is our biggest candle. Overall, 10.2 was our biggest area of price history, and now that's resistance. So we've fallen down to here, and we're basically at 8K to up to $8,300 and down to 79 and change. And then we have a giant window that literally can take us all the way down. Oops, fix that again. That's better. To the next significant area of price history and price support, and that's around the mid 5Ks. Weekly volume continuing to fall. Lower lows, lower highs. Ichimoku Kaijinsen resistance, backtest resistance, still resisting it at $8,400. Lower span support, $6,100. Remember, my Ichimoku settings are slightly varied, 2061, 2030. That's fun. So there you have it. We are on a weekly candle. That's not terrible. Volume's okay. Bullish engulf. Upper wick, we still want to trend higher to try and potentially test, our most recent. Now, I can do a fib from the high to low of the whole move here. We can also do one just based on several other circumstances. I mean, this was our high here before the breakdown. Our last local high to our most recent local low. We can see the 326 was resistance. Break through that. Now we're holding above the 236, and we can clearly see that the 382 is that rejection area. This brings us up to the mid 9Ks for a fall through. So we can use these to set our support and resistance areas and determine, are we climbing up back the mountain, or are we setting up for the next fall because we kind of get that rejection. I'll go back to my weekly. So we did a fib basically from the high to the low of this bull market, but we can do one, looking at it from the sense of getting back to all-time highs, right? Bitcoin 20K, and how the golden pocket was tremendous resistance on the way up. 13.8 was our top, and this is between 13.4 and as high as $14,000. So we hit that on the way up, and we can still go as low as 236. We haven't even touched that yet as a back test support, and that's at 7K. Talked about that. So we have a 236 back test support, and we have a retracement fib right there in similar confluence. Okay, another reason why 7K Bitcoin, I think, offers a much more appealing support in the sense of the the support turned resistance and now elevated back to support. We go in here, half an hour. Whew, time flies, doesn't it? Check this out here. Looks pretty good. So we can use our fibs to get a sense of where we can potentially see these areas of support and resistance. And we can also use them to determine, are we in a bullish market? Are we in a bearish market? We were in a bullish market, the first half of 2019, that's for darn sure. We're in a bearish market because we're down 40% from our highs. And technically only 20% really needs to be the case, right? Price range. Today we are almost 40%, almost $5,000 of Bitcoin down. So the hodlers are the hodlers, but $13,000 Bitcoin, and now you can get it for 40% off the cover price, or as low as 44% on the most recent dip. So these are things that we can still see, as possibilities here, and that's why that kind of lower lows, lower targets can definitely still be in play because of not just the indicators and whatnot, but the fact that as our volume decreases, and the fact that this can still be the B wave of a significant corrective move from a major bearish move, where the C wave will be a one-to-one, will be a truncation. If this is our A and that's our B, where are we targeting here? Well, our golden pocket retracement to the C wave is between $3K and $3,500. That would be kind of our ABC. I'm not even going to mention where the 786 is. But we can see this potential in a much broader corrective move of that possibility. So let's say this is not ABC. Let's say this is wave 1, right? And we're in some sort of a wave 2, and we're about to go to 3, which could take us above all-time high. And then 4 is going to pull us back just around 15K. And then 5 breaks us up to $2,500, $25,000, right? Let's say that's it, right? Oh, this should be not submulet. This should be minor. Yeah, that's better. Then what kind of extension of wave 3 could we derive from knowing the length of wave 1? Well, we can use our trend-based fib extension tool and map out that a 1-to-1 ratio okay, just a straight 1-to-1, which would qualify this as a clean wave 3, would be up to $18,000, right? Still putting in that just below all-time high levels. Or we get an extension of the 1236 up to $21,000 Bitcoin. Who knows how long the wave 3 could be, but just a 1-to-1, a clean 1-to-1 would be at $18,000. And then wave 4 only needs to pull back no lower than 13.8, right? And it just happens to coincide with our golden pocket of that extension right around $14,000. And then wave 5, just using this as a clean 1-to-1, derived from the assumption that wave 3 is a 1-to-1, brings us to wave 5, maybe it's extended, 1618, $32,300. Sometime in, 2022. Is this the path of Bitcoin bullish price action? It could be. It could be. We could just be completing our wave 2 correction. And on the way up to continuation here, it's possible. Is this a more of a grander thing here, where this is a subset of a subset? Where this is wave 1, this was wave 2, and then we just finished 1 of 3. So all of this equates to a 3, where 4 now doesn't pull back anything more than 20,000, and then 5 brings us up to Bitcoin 200K maybe. And if that should be super max, so minor, that should be primary. Actually, that shouldn't be primary. That should be grand super cycle, right? That's our grand super cycle right there. And thusly, we could derive that wave, there we go, 3 extension to the 1618 to, as high as $35,000. So these are all possibilities based on assumptions that this is wave 1, this is wave 2, this is wave 1 of wave 2 of wave 3 of wave 4 of wave 5. And of course, these would be adjusted significantly if this isn't our bottom here, and that we actually go a lot lower. Because as you can see, the adjustment is based on $7,800, but if we go lower to like 7K, 6K, a lot of those will change as the future progresses. So it's always fun trying to kind of extrapolate where we are in the whole history here. I'll switch to log here, and you can kind of see, actually, let me go to BLX. Hello. And you can basically see just some fun stuff I've been playing with. Oh, look at that. Oh, shoot, that's getting close, isn't it? Forgot about that. Yeah, this was an interesting fib circle I was playing with, and trying to get it to line up with the high and the low spread. And there are lots of places where this definitely does touch and correspond to riding the arcs and the breakdowns and the resistances, and then riding it up. And then it's been in this kind of open air till the end here, right around next week's price action. Very interesting to see how this reacts to this circle here. But we can also see, let me just hide you for a second. Our logarithmic path of Bitcoin continues upward. We have found our bottom multiple times. Right? That's pretty good there. We advance from this line, we come back to the line, we advance from the line, we come back to the line. So do we come back to the line, or are we still bouncing off the line? Remember, we can bounce off the line for years. We come back to the mean. We can also think about this from more of a structural, support and resistances. Is it this one? Yes, the kind of upside back test. Okay, support, 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 resistance. Resistance, resistance, resistance. We break down, and there's the back test rejection right here. That's the rejection. That's why Bitcoin rejected so hard earlier in the week. Okay, that's notable resistance on a historic standpoint. So I'm getting a little hoarse here. Guys, thank you so much for joining me today. Remember to check me out on Twitter. Remember to hit that thumbs up. Much appreciate you guys hanging out with me. My buddies here. Guys, remember to check out fluxtradinggroup.com. Remember to find me on Twitter. Hit that like, hit that follow button. Tell your friends. Until next time, this is Big Jonas. Have a great Sunday. We'll update you guys next week as what I'm seeing in the Bitcoin price action. Until then, talk to you soon.